so much for that Southern hospitality. My goodness. Wow. Oh. Y'all really know how to make a fella feel good? Just walking out here, seeing all these faces. I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm glad I wore my finest attire for everybody tonight. I'm glad somebody likes my outfit. Yeah, because my wife don't. Oh, no. She says I look like the Wish version of Magic Mike. Now, you may be asking yourself, why would a 36-year-old grown male be wearing shorty shorts? They make my legs look longer. I look taller. I guarantee you when I walked out here, y'all thought I was at least 6'3". That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, as you look up here tonight, you all see a man with a beautiful beard, majestic tattoos, and the chiseled body of a redneck god. But I have not always been this man. Well, I've always been a man. I've always had a wiener. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, in my early 20s, I was a different man. This is all true. I was a man who suffered from drug addiction. Yes. First, I started off like anybody else, just smoking weed. Yeah, I smoked weed, but I didn't like it. And it didn't like me. I tried so many times to form a relationship with marijuana. Every time I tried, same outcome. Me and all my buddies would get together. My friend would roll one up. He'd light it. He'd start laughing and giggling. Pass it to my other buddy. He'd start laughing and giggling. Pass it to me. And then I would go hide in the closet and cry for 3 hours. I moved on from marijuana and I started experimenting with a drug called Ecstasy. Now, I am in absolutely no way, shape, or form condoning ecstasy, but that is a fun drug to do. You get around a group of people that you like and trust. You turn the lights down low, you turn the music on, take you an ecstasy pill, get you some glow sticks. You will have a grand old time. But I'm gonna warn you, you will make love to anything on ecstasy. And that is exactly why you should never do ecstasy if you are by yourself. Story time. One night, my wife was working third shift. My son's at his grandma's. I am left at home unsupervised. That ain't safe for nobody. I'm like, I'm gonna be a good husband. I'm gonna clean up the house, surprise my wife. I start cleaning up the house. As I'm cleaning, I go to clean out our closet. As I'm cleaning out my closet, I find a pair of jeans that I had rolled up and hid back in the corner. I pull them jeans out and I see a pill hit the ground. I pick it up and angels start singing. And I can see that it is an ecstasy pill. And I'm like, well, this is getting digested. I ain't a wasteful type of person. I took it. I turned the lights down low. I turned the music on, and I start vacuuming in a very sexual fashion. Things start getting foggy. I start sweating a lot. Next thing I know, darkness. Next thing I know, I'm hearing a door slam shut. I feel something shaking me violently. I wake up and I see my wife looking down at me. She says, well, hey there, pervert. So why are you naked on the couch? And why are there holes in my watermelon and cantaloupe? I was like, I don't know, I guess I like to eat my fruit with my penis. Don't knock it till you try it. Uh-oh. I never tried ecstasy again after that. You know, I didn't want my wife to catch me cheating on her with a pineapple. You would have thought things couldn't get no worse, but they did. Because I was introduced to a little round pill called Oxycodone. For 6 years of my life, I depended on that drug. At the peak of my addiction, I was taking 10 Oxycodone 30s a day. Not sure if you know this, but that's expensive. Oh boy, $30 a pill. I did the math on that. I was snorting my double-wide trailer payment up my nose every day. Or in today's economy, that would equal the value of 3 Stanley Cups. I finally got a hold of myself. I cleaned up, and now I've been sober for going on 12 years. That's right. Sober's fun. I'm a family man now. I have a beautiful wife. I have an amazing son. And you know, there's times where I walk into my house, and when I walk in, my son's running around acting crazy. My wife is yelling at my son, and man, I just stop. And I look at him, and I think to myself, I'm gonna start doing drugs again. I often think to myself, I ask the question, what could have sparked my drug addiction? Because I didn't grow up around any of that stuff. My mama was a saint. She didn't smoke. She didn't drink. My mama could take a teaspoon of NyQuil and be out 3 days. I wasn't around that stuff. And every time I ask myself what could have sparked my drug addiction, I always come back to the same answer. You see, back in the early 90s, in elementary school, we had something called the D.A.R.E program. Under the D.A.R.E program, a uniformed police officer would come to your school. That police officer would have a piece of poster board. And on it, he would have every illegal drug and narcotic taped to it. He would go to your class. He would then educate you on each drug. He would tell you how to use the drugs. And then, in order to scare you away from doing the drugs, he would tell you the side effects, which were always amazing. And I swear, I think he took every drug on that poster board before he came in. He'd walk in that class and be like, all right, boys and girls, this white powder in my hand is called cocaine. Do not do cocaine unless you want to have a good time. If you snort cocaine, it will give you superhuman abilities. So now, me and all my 9-year-old buddies is out at recess snorting pixie sticks. We live in a part of the South called the Bible Belt. It's called the Bible Belt because everybody here is religious. Everybody in this part of the South is religious. And there's different types of religions and different religious denominations. You got Christians, Catholics, Jewish, you got Baptists, you got Presbyterians. Hell, my brother's a Crystal Methodist. That's a newer denomination that's sweeping the South right now. Don't get that confused with Southern Methodist. Crystal Methodists pay their tithes and offerings with catalytic converters and copper wire. And you see, Catholics go to confession to ask forgiveness of their sins. Crystal Methodists go to trial to testify for a reduced sentence. Speaking of methamphetamines, me and my family live way out in the country. The closest town to us has a population of 400 people. And that town has 2 Dollar Generals. Where there's a field, Dollar General will build. When me and my family want some snacks, or if we just want some entertainment, we drive on down to the DG and we people watch. I'm just here to tell you right now, if any of you out there have a low self-esteem, or if you think you ugly, just drive on down to the Dollar General and people watch for 10 minutes. You'll leave there feeling like a supermodel. One day, me and my son needed some snacks. We heading to the Dollar General. Nice warm spring day. I got my window down. He's got his window down. We go to pull in that parking spot at the Dollar General. The time I pull in that parking spot, this lady comes out of nowhere and jumps into my window. She starts yelling, talking 100 miles an hour. I can't understand the words she's saying. The only thing I did observe is she didn't have no teeth in her head. She starts asking me for money. Just give me $20. Give me $30. Give me $45. My son speaks up. He says, hey! Didn't the tooth fairy give you a lot of money for them teeth? I got married when I was 27 years old. A lot of my friends got married when they were 19, 20, 21, not me. I was partying hard, doing drugs, having sex with fruit. Those were good times. One thing I thank God for every day is that when I was single, there was no such thing as the Tinder app. I dodged a bullet on that one. I think that if you sign up for the Tinder app, then Tinder should have to send you a bottle of penicillin. Because you never know what you're going to get into when you meet somebody from the Tinder app, if you know what I'm saying. I think the Tinder and them other dating apps have ruined dating. Because now, somebody can be on the Tinder app, swiping through, they see you, and you just got rejected in the comfort of your own home. Not in my day. In my day, you had to go out to a bar. You saw a girl you wanted to talk to, you go up to the bar. You buy that girl drinks. You spend all your money. Then you get rejected. When I'm talking to somebody and I find out that they own the Tinder app, I have to ask them why. Why? It's not for that. They'll say the same thing every time. I'm only on Tinder to meet friends. And I completely understand that because I am only on Pornhub to watch this repairman fix this naked lady's TV. I've watched it 3 times. He still ain't fixed it yet. I had to change it. Now I'm watching this poor old stepmom who's stuck under the sink. Ain't nobody helping her. I went on a blind date one time. Now that don't mean the girl was blind. That's what you call going on a date with somebody you ain't never met. I go to this girl's house to pick her up. I pull up, she walks out, gets in the car, shuts the door. First words out of her mouth are, "Hey, I'm bi." Well, I'm curious. Later on that night, in the bedroom, I found out she meant bipolar. Which still counts as a threesome in my book. In my younger days, when I was a single, thoroughbred stallion, I wanted me a girl that was a freak. I got this older cousin. He'd tell me, he'd say, "Man, get you a girl that's a freak. They'll teach you something." So I did. I found me one that was a freak. And fellas, I'm here to tell you right now, every man wants a woman that's a freak. Until you wake up one morning with a cucumber stuck in your butt. She'll find a hidden valley with that ranch. If you're married, you probably remember the first time you met your spouse. I remember the first time I met my wife. We were both working at the hospital. I was working as a respiratory therapist. She was working as an RN. And yes, I know, it is absolutely terrifying to think I'm a medical professional. Imagine being wheeled into the emergency room, you're on death's door, and the first face you see is this. Then I walk up and whisper in your ear, I'm gonna have to stick my tube down your throat. Beep. That's the third one this week. The first time I met my wife, I walk into this patient's room, and when I walk in, I look across and I see this tall, thick, brunette beauty. And she is in the process of inserting a catheter into a male patient. And that feller's a squirming. And she's holding his pecker like it's a snake about to bite her. In that room, she looks up and looks me eye to eye. She looks back down and looks it eye to eye. She looks back up and she winks at me. And I knew right then my wiener'd be the next one she was a hold. Now, I could not tell at that point in time how tall she was. I could tell she was tall, but she was across the room. Come to find out, my wife is 5'10". I am not. We go on a date the next night, our first date. I pull up at her house to pick her up. She comes walking outside in a pair of high heels. She gets in the car. She wants me to take her to see a movie at the movie theater. We go pull up at the movie theater. I get out. I open her door. I grab her hand. And we're holding hands walking across the parking lot. As we're holding hands, we go to walk into the movie theater. But as we go to walk into the movie theater, I can see in the reflective glass what looks to be a mother holding her child's hand. Is that what you want to do? I want some popcorn too. Oh, yeah. I was like, we're going back to the car and I'm putting the damn heels on. Now, at the beginning of the relationship, when she cared about my feelings, she would try her best to make me feel okay about the whole height situation because she knew I was self-conscious about it. So she would walk up to me and she'd be like, I don't care if you're shorter than me. I love you. Just the way you are. But then as our relationship continued on, and she needed some ammo for her arguments, she weaponized the whole height thing. Me and her would get into a verbal altercation. She would say something, then I would try to say something back, and she'd go, I hear something, but I don't see nobody. My wife's ex-boyfriend, the guy she dated before me, was 6'7", 350 pounds. That's not a human, that's an ogre. That's Shrek, is what that is. I asked her, I said, where'd you meet him? She said, down at the Dollar General. I don't get it. Women are infatuated with tall guys. What's so sexy about having to walk through a door like this? Let me get... Chicks talking about, oh my gosh, I think it's so sexy when a man can grab something off the top shelf. That ain't sexy. I'll tell you what's sexy. When a man can grab something off the bottom shelf without bending down. Does that turn you on right there? My wife's name is Leah. Me and Leah dated for 2 months, and then we decided to get married. Yes. We dated for 2 months and decided to get married because we knew we were in love. Yes, it had nothing to do with me getting her pregnant. I'm gonna tell you what though, I found out when you fall in love with somebody after only 2 months, and then you move in with them, all them little red hearts you was seeing are actually little red flags. The night before our wedding, me and her's laying on the couch together. We're cuddling. And we are watching the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. That's where grown men get in their underwear and they beat each other to death. So we're sitting there watching these two dudes beat the crap out of each other. And as we're watching, I can feel her shadow boxing. All of a sudden, she starts yelling at the TV, coaching the fighters. Oh. Switch to unorthodox. Go for the single leg. Transition to the arm bar. And I'm like, who the hell are you? And she says, oh, my gosh, baby. I forgot to tell you. I took Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu for 6 years. That ain't the kind of shit you forget to tell somebody. That you are a human weapon. Fellas, put yourself in my position. The night before your wedding, you find out that you are marrying Chuck effing Norris. Not only did she take jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai for 6 years, she was also on a world-ranked roller derby team. Not sure if you've ever seen roller derby before, but them ain't no dainty females. These are women with nicknames like Big Diesel. And it don't matter if they in a relationship with a woman or a man. They are the man in that relationship. My son became inspired by this. So he decided he was going to take jiu-jitsu. He's been taking jiu-jitsu now for 4 years. Yeah, I'm the only person in my house that can't fight. If somebody were to break into our home, I would not hesitate to push both of them into the living room. I'd lock my door. Go fight for Daddy. Because they might know jujitsu, but I know just shoot you. That's right. My wife's got a 3rd-degree black belt, but I have a 12th gauge shotgun. They say opposites attract. I found out that is really true. Because me and her, we're polar opposites. My wife loves confrontation. She loves to argue. Now, she don't go looking for it. But if somebody comes at her trying to fight or argue, it makes her loins moist. She don't shy away from a good argument. I am non-confrontational. I love everybody. I want to be friends with everybody. Oh, you have a nose on your face? Me too. We're best friends. And it's gotten even worse with my wife since she started going through menopause. You see, she went through some things, had to have the baby factory removed. And I truly believe that when the uterus leaves, Satan enters. It's got to the point where I'm scared to take her out in the public. Because I know that it's going to take one time for me to take her out in public. Some guy is going to look at her the wrong way. Then she's going to say something, and I'm going to get beat up for it. Sometimes when me and her's laying in the bed together, you know, me and my wife just laying there and she's asleep, I think about shaving her head bald. Ladies, y'all's hair affects us men more than you will ever know in your life. Y'all right now have probably lost 1,000 hairs off your head tonight. You all still have a head full of hair. I lost my hair one time. Mine never came back. Not y'all, ladies. You lose one, you got 10 on standby. I find my wife's hair in places she's never been. One day, I'm sitting on the couch. I'm watching football. As I'm watching football, I look across the living room floor and I see a spider. He was a big one. I was like, why ain't he moving? So I walk over to investigate. I kick him. And when I kick him, I could see that he tried to run, but his legs was tied together with her hair. She is affecting the wildlife. The other day, I look out the kitchen window, and when I look out, I see my dog dragging its butt. Had a turd hanging by one of her hairs, just... I looked at her, I said, that's yours, you pulling it out. Sometimes I get home, I've been sweating, working hard. I just want to get in the shower. Get in the shower, start washing. turn around. She'd have wrote me a love note in hieroglyphics. You'd just be washing, turn around, be like, oh my, and then she gets mad at me talking about, I did that so I wouldn't clog the drain. Well, guess what? My throw up did clog the drain. One night I'm laying in bed, I'm sleeping real good. And as I'm sleeping, I go to move my leg. And when I move my leg, I can feel something just pulling my testicles with it. Just. I run to the bathroom thinking I have a medical emergency. I get in the bathroom, I yank my underwear down, and I see where I have one of her hairs lassoed around both of my testicles. And I'm here to tell you, that stuff's 30-pound test. You will not break it. She had my boys hog-tied. Cutting off circulation. I said, I gotta get this undone, so I yanked it. Yeah, I look like a puppeteer and my wiener looked like a puppet. When you've been together as long as we have, you have to find things to spice up your love life. Because at first, when you first get together, that's not a problem. Every time you walk by each other, you're kissing, loving. You know, you just want to impress each other. Everything below the belt's as smooth as a hardwood floor. Then your relationship continues on. Life happens. You neglect to trim the hedges. You're like, they're gonna be with me the rest of their life. I'll just bush it out. I don't care. Me and my wife have been going through a little love-making drought because I'd been working, she'd been working. We had a toddler who was into everything. We could get no privacy. So one Friday night, I'm home, they're home. I'm thinking to myself, I got to do something tonight to light the flame. So I figure I'll go in the shower. I'll shave my man parts. She'll walk into the bedroom and I'll stand there. Be looking all aerodynamic. She won't be able to resist and we'll be making babies. That was the plan. Now, like I said, I had a 3-year-old who was into absolutely everything, but they're watching TV, so I'm like, I'm going to get in the shower. I get in that shower, I got a clear see-through glass door on my shower. So I'm shaving, and I'm like, if I'm going to shave the top, got to get the bottom. You don't want a goatee. So, in order to do that, I throw my leg up. If you can see my testicles, I apologize. So I'm doing my thing, I'm shaving, and I get down to what you would anatomically call the taint. And as I'm looking down shaving, I hear something hit my shower door. I look over and see a face planted in my shower door. So I freak out and go, Gave myself the old redneck vasectomy. Now I'm mad because my plan got ruined by a 3-year-old terrorist. So the next day, I'm walking through the house, trying not to let my meats touch. And as I'm walking through, my wife is in the kitchen. She looks at me and starts laughing at me. So that makes me even more mad, and I'm like, I will never shave again. And she looked at me and said, me neither. So now when we make love, it starts a brush fire. I pick on her about it. I do. I have to. I'll walk through and she'll be getting dressed, won't have nothing on. I'll look at her and say, how's my little Wookie doing today? I come in the house one day, and I could tell immediately when I walked in, she wanted me. She had a twinkle in her eye. I could smell her pheromones. Ladies, by the way, us men know when you want us. We think it's all the time. But when I walk in the house, and I could just see it, I could feel it. 8 o'clock that night, she gives my son 2 melatonins. Puts him in the bed, locks his door from the outside. I'm watching TV, she grabs my arm, pulls me into the bedroom and throws me onto the bed. Rips her underwear off. Sound like a car's airbag in a front end collision. She says, you want to make love to me tonight? I looked at her and I said, and then I walked to the couch where I slept for the rest of the night. When my wife was pregnant with my son, all I could think is, I want 2. I want 2 kids. But then we had my son. We went through the toddler stage, and I was like, I don't want a kid anymore. Because toddlers are absolute psychopaths. And they love doing exactly what you tell them not to do. My son thought it was a little game. I'd tell him not to do something, he'd just smile and do it. At first, it's cute, but it gets old really quick. Me and him was out in my garden one day, having an electric fence around that garden. And I've watched that electric fence put a deer on its back before. We out there, I look over and I see him going to grab that electric fence. And I was like, all right, do I run over there and grab his hand and pull it down? Or do I scream, no, and let him learn a very valuable life lesson? So I look over and I say, no, son! And I'm thinking, do it, you dick, do it. Do it, now. He just smiled and grabbed that fence. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen a small child get launched into orbit. But that shit's hilarious. I got him a BB gun for his 4th birthday. Got him a BB gun, and on the day that I decided to teach him how to use it, I was intoxicated. I walk outside, I'm like, all right, boy, Daddy's gonna teach you something today. So I got 2 cans. I put them cans up against an oak tree. Oak tree's behind the cans. Me and him, we get back here about 10 yards. The house is directly behind us. I'm like, all right, you just watch Daddy. I pull the gun up. I aim. I pull the trigger. Pow! The BB leaves the barrel at a high velocity and misses the cans. It hits the tree, comes back at an even higher velocity, goes through the window of the house, and hits my wife on the ass washing dishes. So me, being the quick thinker I am, I took the gun and shoved it into my son's hands. And I grabbed a rake and started raking, and I ain't seen nothing. I hear that door slam open. I see my wife step out, and she says, I'm gonna kill you. My son's just holding the gun like, She runs up, she snatches him up, and she starts beating him. I look over there, and I can see her beating him. And I can see him screaming and crying. And all I could think was, thank you for your sacrifice, son. After his mama went in, I walked over. He's a crying. I said, I hope you learned your lesson today, son. You never trust anybody, boy. She loves candles. My wife loves candles. So to be a good husband, I got online. I was going to buy her some fancy candles that she'd never had. So I'm cruising through the internet, and as I'm looking around, an article pops up. This is all true. An article pops up about a lady by the name of Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow created her own line of candles for a charity event. They were Bodily scented candles. She sold these candles for $75 a piece. 5,000 candles. Sold out in 24 hours. And every single one of those candles were scented like her vagina. Oh, I'm talking cooter candles. There ain't never been one time in my life where I have been going down there on a woman and thought to myself, this will be a good smell in the kitchen. I mean, could you imagine walking into somebody's house? You're like, oh, we just here to eat. What in the hell is that? Tim, what you cooking? Bill, that's my cooter candle on the table. It did give me an idea, though. What if I were to come out with my own line of Bodily scented candles? You walk into a Yankee Candle company. You pick up a candle. Ah, a ginger billy candle? Huh. What is that? Ah, runner's taint. Huh. No, nope. That's the one you put outside to keep the skeeters away. The worst mistake I have ever made as a parent would have to be taking my son to Disney World. That's not a vacation. You get there, you see thousands of mentally unstable parents just having mini strokes. Either can't find their kids or they're cussing at their kids. My son loved Mickey Mouse, so we thought we'll take our 4-year-old baby to Disney World. Plan that trip out. We got one of them friends who's a Disney World fanatic. Goes 5 or 6 times a year. We all know one of those weirdos. So when we booked the trip, she's like, oh my gosh, it's magical. It's so magical. If you watch the Disney World commercials, they make it look magical. And when you get there, you find out that it truly is magical. Because when you and your child walk under that Disney World sign, your child magically becomes the biggest dick you've ever met. I don't know what it is that turns all them little kids into a-holes. I think it's got something to do with the heat and the humidity. Because Disney World is located in a place called Orlando, Florida, also known as the Devil's Butthole. My wife, being the genius she is, decided to book our trip to Disney World for 7 days in July. When she booked that trip, Disney World sent us a brochure. It said, we hope you have a magical Disney experience. I had the Disney experience. I experienced anxiety and swamp ass for 7 days. I had the worst case of Niagara balls you have ever seen on a man. Every woman walking around with humidity titties. I went through 3 bottles of Gold Bond. My testicles looked like powdered donuts. I hope you got a mental picture of that in your head. It's miserable. My wife knows I'm an animal lover. So first day, she books our trip to a place called the Animal Kingdom. I thought it was gonna be one big petting zoo. We walked through the gates of the Animal Kingdom, and the first thing you see when you walk through the gates is this big, huge mountain with a roller coaster sticking out of the top of it. My wife gets all excited. She's like, oh my gosh, baby. Oh, that's Expedition Everest. That's the first ride we get to ride today. Little secret for everybody. I am terrified of roller coasters. She knows this. She can tell by the look on my face, I'm terrified. So she looks at me in front of everybody in line and she says, hey, puss. This is a child's roller coaster. And I trusted her. Because number one, she is my wife. And number two, I am a moron. Now, as we're sitting in line, waiting for this child's roller coaster, I'm thinking to myself, all right, if we get up here, and this is a big boy roller coaster, I will use my 4-year-old son as my scapegoat. I'll be like, hey, excuse me, this child is not tall enough to ride. And that'll get me out of there without me looking like a vagina. But what I failed to realize is I had a very tall 4-year-old. So he meets the height requirement. Now he's super pumped. He's going, oh my gosh, Daddy, can I ride on the front? Let's ride on the front. So me and him get on the front, and Satan sits behind us. Now, as we're sitting there waiting for this roller coaster to take off, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna Google it. See what this thing's about. Prepare myself. So I Google the words, Expedition Everest roller coaster. First words that pop up are, tallest wooden roller coaster at Disney World. Now I'm in a panic. They got the bar on my lap, so I'm waving. Trying to get the operator to get me off the ride. And he goes, oh, hey. There we go. In my panic, I managed to drop my cell phone. As I'm looking down, trying to pick up my cell phone, I feel the roller coaster tilt upward in a vertical fashion. And I feel tick, 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 tick. And I look up to see a hill going straight to Jesus. My son looks at me and he goes, Mama lied, Daddy! It is at this time that my son learned a very valuable lesson, and that is that women lie. We keep creeping up that hill, man, just tick, 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 tick. My son looks at me again, he goes, hey, Daddy, I don't like Mama no more. I said, yes, son, Mama's an asshole for this one. We keep creeping up that hill, man, tick, 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 tick. We start cresting over the top of that hill, and you can see the entire state of Florida. My son looks at me and he goes, so we're gonna die, Daddy. So trying to be tough, I grab him real tight. I start rubbing his head and I say, we're gonna be all right, boy. Everything's a boom. And we fall off the face of the earth. And we're going 100 miles an hour. And I can feel this. We're going through loops and turns. But 2 seconds later, after we fall off that hill, that coaster goes skirt. And with my eyes closed, I'm thinking to myself, wow, that wasn't bad at all. But if you've ever been on that ride before, you know that shit ain't over with yet. I opened my eyes to see that the roller coaster stopped because it's a dead end. It looks like you're about to fly off. Now, I know this is part of the ride, but my 4-year-old son don't. My son opens his eyes. And when he opens his eyes, he goes, oh, death. I, too, have a gag reflex. So I'm like, no. So here we are on the end of this roller coaster just puking on each other. Not sure if you know this, but them roller coasters have cameras on them. We didn't buy that picture. I finally get control of my bodily functions. I grab my boy real tight again, and I say, baby, we will be... Now we're going backwards at 200 miles an hour. Worst part about going backwards is you in these pitch black tunnels. It's pitch black dark. You can't see your hand in front of your face. And as we are going through those pitch black tunnels, and I am hanging on to my son, all you can hear in them tunnels is screaming and crying. And all of a sudden I hear my son, he says, Daddy! Stop that shit, you're embarrassing me! Finally, that roller coaster comes out of them tunnels, skirt, pulls into the station, stops. But as that roller coaster stops, a slight breeze comes over the roller coaster. And on that breeze, you could smell a hint of doo-doo. So I pick my son up off that roller coaster. We go to walking off. And I look at him in front of everybody and I say, son, it is all right. You did not mean to do that. Because I didn't want them people on that coaster knowing that I was the one that shat myself. Ginger Billy, thank you. Good night.
Y'all check out my new truck. This thing do anything damn to
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my dad.
With the music playing loud like bars shining.
Some dude getting drunk and he looking for a fight. So I hit y'all come on in because the water is fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ginger Billy.
Where am I? Is this planet Earth? No, this is not Earth. This is America.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my dad, Ginger Billy.